Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and trepidations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And I have a story for you today that's coming straight out of Dallas, Texas, with a megachurch pastor who has resigned his post as the leader of his church after an alleged sexual misconduct allegation has come out against him from a situation with a young lady that she says took place 35 years ago when she was 12 and he was 21. And as we all know, with the famous moniker, what's in the dark will someday come out in the light. And what he did in his past, this pastor, or what he has been alleged to have done in his past, has come back to haunt him and bite him in the butt. And subsequently, he has resigned from his mega church pastor post. So let's go. Mega church pastor resigns after admitting to sexual misconduct with a young lady when she was 12. The pastor of a mega church in Dallas resigned Tuesday, 2 days after admitting to inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady 35 years ago. The young lady in question was 12, and the behavior as she described it would amount to criminal SA abuse. The now former pastor Robert Morris of Gateway Church was preaching to more than 100,000 active attendees and was once a spiritual advisor to former President Donald Trump. His resignation comes 5 days after 54-year-old Cindy Clemenshire went public with allegations that Morris started molesting her when she was 12 and he was 21, telling USA Today on Tuesday that she was no longer afraid to speak about it. She said it was kissing and petting and not intercourse, but it was wrong. Morris, 62, said on Sunday in a statement to local Dallas news station WFAA-TV, he said this behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years. Since that time, I have walked in purity and accountability in this area. At first, the church was standing behind Morris, but announced his resignation following a wave of criticism. In a statement issued by members of the news media, the church's board of elders said they previously understood that Morris had an extramarital relationship with a young lady, citing the pastor's words, but not abuse of a 12-year-old child. They went on to say, "We are heartbroken and appalled by what has come to light over the past few days, and we express deep sympathy to the victim and her family," according to the statement. So, allegations against Pastor Morris, went public on Friday after Clemenshire first shared her story with the Wartburg Watch, a blog about SA abuse within the church. Clemenshire said in the blog post that she and her family met Morris at a youth revival in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when he was 20 and she was 11. Morris was a traveling evangelist with his wife Debbie at the time. Morris would preach at Clemenshire's church on Sundays, and sometimes he, Debbie, and their son would stay at her family's home. She viewed him as safe and friendly, she said. Things changed on Christmas of 1982 when Morris asked a 12-year-old Clemenshire to visit him in his room that night, and she thought nothing of it, she said in the post. Once in the room, she said he abused her and warned her never tell anyone about this because it would ruin everything. She said the abuse continued in Oklahoma and Texas until 1987. So it's 5 years of this well-kept secret of abuse. Eventually, Clemenshire told a good friend and her parents about the abuse, and Morris reportedly stepped down from ministry for 2 years, she told the blog. Even as the church released a statement about his resignation, on Tuesday, Morris was still listed as the senior pastor on Gateway Church's website, which says he has been married to his wife for 44 years and they have 3 children together. Morris has a television program that airs in over 190 countries, and his radio program airs in more than 6,800 cities, according to his biography on the Gateway Church website. Pastor Morris's YouTube page, which has 80,000 subscribers, includes videos with the titles like Freedom Through Forgiveness and Did You Know You're Made Perfect by God's Grace. In a previous statement issued to WFAA-TV, the church said that Morris has been open and forthright about a moral failure he had over 35 years ago, and that there has been no other moral failures since. In his own statement to the outlet on Sunday, Morris said that this situation was brought to light and it was confessed and repented of. I submitted myself to the elders of Shady Grove Church and the young lady's father, he said. They asked me to step out of ministry and receive counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. In the latest statement, the church elders said that we regret that we did not have all the information that we now have in front of us. For the sake of the victim, we are thankful this situation has been exposed, they said. We know many have been affected by this. We understand that you are hurting and you are very sorry. It is our prayer that in time, healing for all those affected can occur. Morris was also on Trump's spiritual advisory board during the 2016 campaign and during his presidency. Trump's current campaign spokesman, Stephen Chung, said in a statement to NBC News that the former president hasn't been aware of the allegations and that Morris does not have a role with the 2024 campaign. Before Morris' resignation on Tuesday, Clemenshire told USA Today that she was disappointed that they're basically lying and minimizing the crime. USA Today does not typically name victims in SA abuse, but Clemenshire said it was important to her. She said that she has been sharing her story for decades with leadership in a very large and high-profile churches and organizations, but no one took Morris out of the ministry pulpit. Clemenshire decided to come forward publicly to encourage others who may be victims to tell their stories, she said. Any and all victims come forward. I just don't believe that I'm the only person, she said. At 54 years old, Clemenshire says she has a different confidence and a different understanding that no longer makes her feel intimidated. The courage is there, she said. I just couldn't stay silent anymore. Clemenshire also included her name in the Wartburg Watch blog because she has no shame. I've always just trusted that God's timing would take it wherever it needed to go, she said about Morris. Why hide it? Clemenshire's attorney told USA Today on Tuesday that Morris cannot be charged criminally or civilly for the abuse because of the statute of limitations in place in the late 1980s, which were fairly short. Since 2017, the statute of limitations in Oklahoma for sex crimes involving children has been until the accusers turn 45. Before 2017, the statute of limitations was 12 years after the accuser turned 18. This just demonstrates the absolute importance of statute of limitations reform, both in criminal and civil cases, Clemenshire's attorney said. When somebody is traumatized as a child, for many, it takes decades to process that trauma to even be ready to speak out or do something about it. Clemenshire's attorney is advocating for look-back windows, which allows states to reopen statutes of limitations that have previously expired so survivors can now file their lawsuits. Very similar to the Survivors Act that the governor, Holcomb, opened up in the state of New York. That's why you're seeing a lot of these famous people that are being sued in civil court because of the Survivors Act, and they also have it in California. Clemenshire and her attorney are currently evaluating all options when it comes to legal actions against Moors. Man, what a story. Here we have another mega pastor who on the outside has been living a moral and ethically correct life by all images and how he has portrayed himself, but on the inside he had some very dark secrets that he was trying to keep suppressed from the public and kept in the closet or in the dark. And unfortunately and fortunately, if these allegations are true, it is outstanding that Miss Clemenshire, now at 54 years old, had the courage to express and expose what took place some 35 years ago. Just imagine if that was you and you've been harboring and holding on to this for 35 years. There is a certain kind of therapeutic release by letting forgiving yourself, forgiving the perpetrator, and releasing that information and that dark secret that you've been keeping for 35 years. It can eat you up, just like stress and anxiety. If you don't have a release mechanism to get this out of your system and you're burying it deep down in your heart and your soul and your gut, eventually it will eat away at you like an ulcer. So we have to give Miss Clemenshire all the applause and support if this allegation is correct, and for her to have seen him blow up as a mega pastor and as a leader of well over 100,000 followers. He has a YouTube page, television, radio. He is spewing the word of the gospel all throughout the entire world, but he had a certain level of hypocrisy that he has been living with, and Miss Clemenshire has been living with while she's watching this man become a pastoral leader, not only in Texas but across the world. It had to eat away at her. Abuse, sexual misconduct is not something that anyone should advocate, especially a young person or any female woman should not have to go through. And it is nice with the Me Too movement to a certain degree that when allegations are brought forward, if they're true, whether it's Bill Cosby or Kelly, P. Diddy, that these women can finally have a voice to expose the hypocrisy in some of the things that have been taking place with our leaders, whether they're lawyers, judges, doctors, professional athletes, entertainers. We're all just people. We're human. We make mistakes, and no one is above another person. Sometimes we have these pastors that get pushed into this high esteem as if they are closer to God than the rest of us, and they want you to believe they are a vestibule or a channel between you and God, and they can bring you closer to God by you listening to their word. That's not necessarily true. The relationship you have with the word, with your religion, is a personal, intimate relationship that you have with God, and you don't need a vestibule or a instrument or vehicle or another human to guide you to God's restoration. Um, we're seeing a lot of this in nowadays. A lot of these powerful people that have done some pretty heinous things over their past is coming back to haunt them. And Robert Morris, something that happened allegedly many years ago, has finally caught up with him, and he has been removed from Gateway Megachurch. Hopefully, she can get some restoration financially, psychologically, her family. I'm sure this was very traumatic for Miss Clemenshire, and hopefully she can move on with her life, definitely after exposing these allegations, and hopefully Pastor Robert Morris can find forgiveness, reverence, and some kind of therapy to correct the ill wills that he did in the past. Tell me what you think about this mega pastor, Robert Morris, who has been alleged to have engaged in sexual misconduct with a woman 35 years ago when she was 12 years old, and it went on for 3 to 5 years, and they suppressed it and kept it a secret. And now the victim, Ms. Clemenshire, is letting it fully be exposed for her own therapeutic purposes and for the safety of individuals in the church, and for other victims across the country and the world to use their voice to speak out against sexual misconduct. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.